Good morning. This is Scott Cullen. I'm the editor-in-chief of the Cannata Report, and I'm here with Fridays with Frank. And Frank is Frank Cannata, our founder. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Scott.
Well, here's a topic that I know people want to hear more about because it is becoming more and more influential in the channel, and that's the presence of A4. And I know people are curious what's going to happen with A3, what's going on with A4. Both of them, can they both coexist? Is A4 going to replace A3? And if so, to what extent? I know you have some thoughts on that. You've been speaking to some other folks in the industry about it. What can you share with us this morning?
Well, I think there is no question that A4 is moving at a faster rate against A3 than it was prior to the pandemic. Prevailing opinion seems to be that the pandemic has accelerated the process, and that could well be the case, but was coming anyway. There's no question that it's severely impacting the business. And how? Okay. Dealers obviously put these larger deals, most of their deals, on leases, okay? So they got a 4-year life on average, reasonable, sometimes 3, sometimes 5. But let's say 4 years. So the deals coming through this year would have been written in 2017. I guarantee, let's assume it's a fairly significant one, and it's about 100 units. Combination of MFPs and possibly standalone printers. In writing the new deal, if you try to place as many A3 MFPs that you did with the deal in 2017, you will lose. Because a dealer who understands what's gone on will go into that account, take a look at what needed, particularly a competitor, and say, you don't need all those A3s, and change the mixture to varying degrees, and could change the mixture by as much as 30 to 40%. Why we come to that conclusion is we've been talking to a lot of leasing companies, and the leasing companies tell us if you take a deal written in 2017 and it come due now, it's probably half the value it was in 2017. So all that spells erosion of clicks. How do we compensate for that? Well, you got to look at how you service the client, what the client is demanding, become more proficient in supplying mobile offices, be more aware of what needs to be done for the client, embrace more fully IT services, expand the services offering, and we've talked about this before with things like telephony and physical security devices, et cetera, that you can sell to the existing customer that now is buying less in terms of clicks, but could buy more in the way of services. So now, is this going to change? At what point does A3 go away? I don't think it does go away. And I think most people are of the mind. One of the interesting things, when we interviewed, you and I interviewed Carsten Brun from the new CEO from Ricoh, he cited going back to some old practices, like having a centralized printer or centralized device in a large account to do the printing that is needed, and even copying that if it's needed. It's an old concept. I remember years ago, when we used to compete against Xerox, we always try to talk about decentralization. Well, now there may be a need for centralization. That's certainly another alternative or another opportunity for A3 to go on. But again, it's there. If you look at our survey last year, Scott, excuse me, HP, Kyocera, and Lexmark were chosen by 80% of the dealers to respond. They were active in A4. In some cases, they had two of those lines. So nobody was even close. So you've got HP and Lexmark and Kyocera. And Kyocera is by far the strongest with dealers. They're dominating. They have 3 outstanding product lines. If I'm not selling one of those product lines, I have to think about what we're going to market with. If you want to take a look at, if you're a Sharp dealer, Sharp A4 product line is pretty strong, but it's not getting a lot of play, in my opinion. And please understand, nobody from Sharp said this to me. I get the sense that they're not too happy with the way dealers are buying into Sharp A4, the Sharp A4 story. It's there. It's good. And if you're not really happy with the A4 situation, you might want to do that. But the lines that are out there, my only reservation, HP, which is the biggest of them all, is creating more problems than they're worth, in plain English. And we addressed that at another Friday event. I'm not going to go into that today. I don't know any other thing that we can share with you that would say, this is what you need to do. I think number one, it's so basic. Just understand what the customer needs. It's not about what you want to sell them. Very simply, go in there, and even if you've sold that account for years and they love doing business with you and are not going to buy any competitors offering, they want to do business with you, but do it the right way. Don't come back and say, hey, we'll just renew. We got you're covered. You don't need anything else. Do the analysis. See what they're needed. Make sure that mixture of A4 is appropriate for what the client needs, and then also discuss what percentage of their workforce is going to remain mobile. And other than that, there's not much else you can do, because that's end of story. Unless you broaden your IT services, then obviously you have a lot to tell them and a lot to share with them in terms of the renewal. The more you can add in terms of other services, the richer the contract will be, and in some ways will compensate for not all the lost clicks, but for some of the lost clicks.